How's it going, folks? Welcome to the Jeza podcast. I just slipped on some steps, but I'm all right. So last few episodes I've been talking about the power of one thing. So this is like a bit of an ongoing thing. And so I just had a very small concept to talk about today. So I went through a phase of about 7 years where I was super fit. And I wasn't necessarily, I think some of this I've said, but I just want to emphasize the point. I wasn't necessarily happy, but I was religiously fit. And basically as part of it was almost like part of a meditation for me. Actually it was almost like a meditation, being the level of fitness I was at. And every day I would do it, I would sort of transcend my suffering, because I'd push it so hard, my mind would go quiet and I'd actually feel peace. So I had this sort of good sense of, I'd made the fitness work for me. I was going through pretty bad sleep issues at the time, and I was so dedicated though, like I would still turn up with no sleep. These are sort of fitness classes, like high intensity, pump and that sort of thing. So even with no sleep, I'd turn up, and by the end, it's like my emotions would be just completely quiet throughout the day. And so I was just mentioning this thing, if you feel stuck, basically just to try to get something done, try to do one thing that you know you can do, and then start sticking to it. And so what I was saying is that I decided, I'm going to go to the gym every day. Like, even if it's just 5 minutes. So this morning I went, and literally I was there 5 minutes. But it creates this habit. And I know from experience that once this gets in motion, it can stick, and then it can become like really powerful. So in all honesty, like, I got drunk yesterday, had a bunch of ice cream. It was a bit of a shocker, but so in itself it wasn't a great day, but I got my gym session done. And I know from personal experience that once you get into this habit, it can become something that you never stop. You just do it, and then it'll get to the point of momentum where you can't stop yourself doing it. So even though I got drunk, had a massive bowl, not even a bowl, I had a whole tub of ice cream. It was shocking. And but I did my one little fitness thing. I did my one little gym exercise. And then, as a follow-on from that, I came again today. And so this latest podcast was only yesterday. These episodes are weekly, but it was only yesterday. And so basically what I'm saying is it was really powerful to stick to it. And it almost doesn't matter what it is. It's something that's meaningful to you, and then you stick to it. Like that's kind of the key to it. And I think within 4 or 5 days, you'll start to notice. And if you do this, let me know sort of your experiences in the comments or whatever. I'm actually interested. And the key is to pick something you can't fail at. So for me, all I have to do for this, all that's required for me is to do a strength exercise in the morning. See, these walks, I do a huge amount of walking. So for me, I don't really need to set aside a goal to walk, because I already do it. But the gym thing is sort of like, I used to love gym, but I've got out of the habit when I started traveling. And so that's kind of the thing I'm trying to bring in. And as I said, it literally takes 5 minutes, but once it's automated to every day, then it becomes easy. This is what I'm saying. In Matthew McConaughey's book, I think I don't know if I finished it or not, but either way, he has this story about how he hates living in Australia. But there's two things about it. He stuck to his word about staying there, which I think is powerful in itself. But also he'd go for a 6K run every day. And he said that over a day, he basically felt like he didn't really achieve much at all. But he'd get this 6K run done and he felt like he'd had a win. So that's kind of what I'm sort of saying about this stuff. So even if you feel 2% out of 100 in terms of your happiness or your well-being or sense of satisfaction, if you start to create a habit where you see that 2% going to 2.1%, you'll be amazed how it can start to get you out of a rut, because you start to build momentum. So years ago, when I was in this exercise phase, what precipitated it was that, I was becoming diabetic, and so I had to lose a bunch of weight. I've actually put on a bit now, but I lost about 30 kilograms, and but I became, I was quite worried about my health, so I became quite obsessed, and I just dialed it in and achieved, like I became quite strong and very fit. Pretty much I became as fit as someone in their 20s, and I was in my 40s. And, I became really fit and really strong. But not only that, I started to love it, and it started to become part of my sense of self. Like I would quiet my mind with it. It became a spiritual discipline thing. Like it became almost like a reverent sort of, it became a sort of, it just became just a spiritual act is how I think about it. And like sort of, my mind would go really quiet, and every day I'd feel the endorphin release. Like for 5 hours, my mind would be quiet. And it became, almost a sacred act. And that one thing filtered over to everything else in my life. And before I went into this phase, I was in quite a bad phase myself, mental health wise, a really bad, dark phase. And this actually really helped get me out of it. And it actually just happened by accident, because of the diabetic thing. But it helped pull me out of it. But the experience kind of showed me the power of just consistency, but make it so easy you can't fail. Because I think what happens is people get a resolution, but they make it too difficult. So you can always change it. See, this thing, if I stick with it, it's going to be that I do 2 exercises. And it's going to be that my walking will increase too. But not only that, when I lost the weight, I had this empowered feeling, and I actually then looked around, what else can I do? Because I actually had this concept of, wow, I can actually achieve things. So it's quite interesting how the flow-on effect it had through everything. Really fascinating. What else? So this is just a little sort of addition to the last episode we did, just about this thing about adding in one little thing into your day that you can achieve every day, and you stick to it no matter what. Like you stick to it kind of religiously, like it happens no matter what. Like when I was in flow, I was doing way more than now, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter your starting point. Like that's the trick. People think it does. The only thing that matters is you stick to it, So this is just a follow-up yesterday. It's fairly similar, to the last podcast. So let's just go into this idea now. So just breathe into the body. And so just getting into this concept of the one thing that you can do, something easy that you know you can do every day that will help your life. And then projecting forward to the feeling of satisfaction of completing that. And really feel it. And the feeling of self-pride. And if it is something physical, doesn't need to be obviously, but say thank you to your body, and let your body thank you, for this act of kindness and this act of commitment, or if it's something else, still let your inner self be grateful for that experience that it's been trying to tell you, it's been trying to lead you to, and you're finally going to do it. And remember to pick something so easy you can't fail. At this point, we just want something so easy we can't fail. We just stick with it for a month. Don't even worry about anything else. The only thing that matters is you stick with this. Something that's meaningful to you, it's moving you in the right direction. And at the end of that month, what's the feeling? So imagine you are at the end of that month. What would be the feeling in your body? Just let yourself feel that now. The feeling of pride, of true pride. The feeling of true respect. Not ego, but proud respect. The feeling of we're moving. The feeling of meaning, of self-respect. And notice how nice these feelings feel to be at this place. Hi, how are you? Notice how good it feels to have achieved this. And this little exercise of projecting forward to that feeling. Let yourself do this for a couple of minutes every day, just in the morning or at night, just for 5 minutes. Just the feeling of satisfaction of having achieved this and how you would feel in yourself. And really let yourself feel it. And in particular, let yourself feel it in your heart. Notice that your heart is alive. Your heart has an intelligence and a knowing. And it knows what's needed. So let yourself feel it in your heart. And give yourself the feeling of pride, the feeling of satisfaction. And decide when you're going to do this. And see yourself doing it. And remember, you don't have to do it perfectly. All you've got to do is do it. There were so many times in my really fit days where I turned up looking like something that the cat had dragged in, just completely dead. But I was there. And within the hour you recover. Back then it was an hour. You recover. You get back to yourself. And out of my body came all the stuck negative emotions. But it doesn't need to be fitness to you. It could be like a work thing. or something in your relationships or anything. It's just about what's important to you. What's the one thing you know is important? What's that one little thing you can do to commit each day? And have it specific and easy. And preferably have an idea of when you're going to do it, the time. And once more, just let yourself feel that feeling of pride in your body, having done it. And thank yourself for having done it. And just let that feeling of pride stay with you as well. And anytime you want to feel it, anytime you feel like emotions or the head's taken over, just breathe in and be still. And let that feeling of pride, true pride, be with you and be in you and be a sense of you. And carry that into your day. And take that with you.